First of all, I just got to commend you on your bravery to like reach out to me and say that you want to tell this story is incredible, because I know it'll inspire somebody out there maybe going through something similar. So give us a little bit of history and background of your situation with this person. And, let's start from the beginning. Where did you meet him? What's your history before we get to the events?
Yeah, so I had met him about 13 years ago. I was working for a business that he had owned. I was a cocktail waitress. And we hit it off. Things went great. We were together for about a year and a half. I found out I was pregnant at 4.5 months with our child. And after that, things didn't work out. And so I was kicked out at 6 months pregnant, went back home, raised my oldest till he was 5. And then I moved out on my own. Him and I were separated. We didn't share any custody or anything until he was about 4, maybe 3. And that was about it. And then he came to me and asked me, things are different. Can we try again? I'm still in love with you. And I took a minute, thought about it, and saw some changes. So I gave it a go. And we were together for almost a year and talked about marriage, talked about the future, retirement, a lot of things. And I poured everything I had into it, everything. I was not perfect, but I know that my love for him at that time was 100% all his. One night we went out with friends and drinking, having a good time, talking about going to Mexico to get married, and went home and things were different. That's when my life definitely changed.
What happened? So, that night, like you guys were out drinking and having a good time, there was no red flags for you that
No.
Something was off at all. So you get home, what time is it?
Probably about 3.
3 in the morning?
3 in the morning, maybe. Kids are sleeping on the couch. Our oldest had a friend over. And so I thought we were going to bed. And he accused me of cheating and went off and threw my phone. And there was nothing in my phone. There was nothing I was hiding. Like I said, I was 100% committed to him. And especially when retrying again after so long, 9 years.
Yeah.
And that's when I tried leaving to go to another room to have him calm down. We talked about it the next day, and that wasn't the case at all. He put my face into the comforter of the bed, and I was screaming I couldn't breathe. Somehow managed to roll over, and that's when he choked me. I don't remember if I blacked out or not. Some pieces are still coming back to me. I managed to kick him off, and then as I was trying to get out of the bedroom, he hit me in the back of the head 3 times. After that, I ran downstairs and was screaming for help, and my oldest, I didn't realize he was up, and he had heard the whole thing. My youngest was still sleeping. He sleeps through anything. And that was when he came down the stairs and said, "Don't you dare call the cops," to our oldest. So the cops weren't called at that moment. My mom couldn't get a hold of me the next morning because I was sleeping. I'd cried. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. And my oldest got a hold of my mom, and he told her what had happened. And she called the cops. And that's when everything changed in a matter of a blink of an eye.
So what happened when the cops finally come? Did you what were your injuries sustained, and basically what happened? Was he still there at the time? Like,
he wasn't. He had disappeared. To my understanding, I don't know where he went. I just know he disappeared. There was no injuries on the outside that the cops could see, but they could see that I was swollen. They advised me that I go into an ambulance to the hospital, and I didn't want to go by ambulance. There was no need. So after they took the report, after I changed the code on the door for the lock, got my kids settled, my mom took me to the hospital. That's where they did the black light on my neck and saw that my trachea was really damaged. My petechiae was bad. In the reports, it says that if it was another 2-3 seconds max, that I wouldn't be here today. And I didn't realize that it was that bad.
Yeah.
So they did fingerprints. They took the fingerprints off of my neck. And I had, because of the damage that was done on my trachea, I had surgery December 13th. And I have a plate and 2 screws in my neck now.
Wow.
Separating the discs.
When you look back on that night, I mean, obviously it changed your life, forever. But do you look back and can you like pinpoint a time where you think like, okay, maybe the signs were there for this, but I didn't really ever think it would turn to that? Like, had he shown signs of being out of control before ever, even if it was with somebody else and you're like, who is that?
No, there were no signs. You wouldn't think, I didn't think that it would happen to me because I didn't surround myself with people like that. It was definitely different. It made me more aware of being in tune with the people I'm around to see any signs. And if there's signs, I'm gone. But there was nothing that I saw, nothing that I knew.
So this is the part that it's frustrating with our judicial system to a certain degree. What happened to him?
He spent 2 nights in jail that I know of, and then was released on bail. From there was a lot of court hearings. There's a protection order on him against, for me and my youngest. He's able to see our son now. And at first, that was very hard for me. It wasn't that I was scared that he was going to hurt my son. It's hurting me through our son and telling him things that may or may not be true. That was an obstacle I had to get over real quick. And I did it because of our son.
Yeah, that was my next question, because I know we talked a little bit off camera, is like, how did you bring yourself to that point emotionally? Because that takes a huge level of forgiveness at some level, like not for what he did, but maybe to be like, okay, this is still my son's father and this is for my son and not me, not me.
It was never about me. I was very angry for quite some time. But to know that my son still needs his dad. And at some point, my son will have his own opinion about his dad. Good, bad, middle, I don't know.
Yeah.
But to know that my son needed his dad, and my son was angry. My son was sad that it had happened, and as he should be. But he's very protective.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of praying, a lot of praying, and just coming to terms that you're now a statistic, you're a survivor.
Yeah.
I don't like that label, but it's reality.